Week 16 has wrapped up, and it was a very dramatic week of football with a lot of big upsets and a lot of drama in a few of those games. It was a very exciting week of football, well, except the 1 p.m. window. The 1 p.m. window was kind of garbage, but other than that, all the other windows of football were really cool. Like Thursday night, literally epic showdown between the Rams and Seahawks that completely changes the face of the NFC. Saturday night, the Bears, miraculous comeback. Then we got Sunday, 1 p.m., nothing really interesting happened because there weren't a lot of good matchups there. But then the 4 p.m. window happened, the Jags upsetting the Broncos. The Steelers-Lions game was wild. And then Sunday Night Football, Patriots come back from down 11 in the fourth quarter. And Monday Night Football, we got to see Phillip Rivers actually put up a decent fight. So it was certainly an interesting week of football. But enough of rambling of what happened last week. What happened in my predictions? I actually had a good week of football for once. 12 correct. I go up in the rankings a little bit, and hopefully by the end of this year, I'm in the top 200,000. Definitely had a rough stretch there. Not my best year of predictions, but hopefully, let's finish the season strong. And my spread picks. I have finally had a winning week. My record for the year is definitely going to be below 500. I'm not making up 12 games in 2 weeks. That's just not happening. I'd have to be basically perfect, and with how these games have gone this year, I don't think that's happening, but top 60% despite missing like the first 2 weeks. I had a pretty good week. Well, it's Christmas week, and we have our first games on Thursday, Christmas Day, Cowboys versus Commanders. I'm sure this was a great matchup going into the year, but now we're here, and it is not a very interesting matchup in the slightest. Cowboys out of the playoffs. They lose their division, and yeah, they made some trades. It wasn't enough. They lost too many games too early. And the Commanders, destroyed by injury, are coming into this game super injured again. I have no idea who's starting at quarterback. Mariota got knocked out of the game, and we had Josh Johnson starting for the Commanders again. It's like the 5th time he's been on the team after going across the league. And Josh Johnson, fun story. Not really a good quarterback, but even if Mariota plays, I don't think the Commanders win anyway, so I'm picking the Cowboys here. I think they'll just try to see how good their team is for next year, and there's going to be some players playing for some contracts. And our spread, yeah, it is a pretty wide spread, and I'm going to take the Cowboys. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions and Minnesota Vikings. Our next Christmas matchup, another matchup that probably looks good at the start of the year. It isn't good right now because the Lions are on the verge of getting knocked out of the playoffs. If the Packers win one of their next 2 games, the Lions are eliminated. So, yeah, their chances of making the playoffs at this point are very slim, and the Vikings are eliminated from the playoffs. And they will likely have Max Brosmer starting because J.J. McCarthy broke his hand, his throwing hand too, so he's out for the year. And yeah, the Vikings, very disappointing season, but honestly, 7-8 isn't the worst record. But when you had 13 wins last year, you definitely want to perform better with a very similar squad. It's just J.J. McCarthy has been super inconsistent this year, and he's not even going to be in this game. So I'll be picking the Lions. And the spread, I will also be picking the Lions here. And our Christmas night game, the Broncos versus the Chiefs. Probably the most lopsided of the 3 Christmas matchups. This was also another potentially really good game at the start of the year. And then the Chiefs got eliminated from the playoffs and lost literally their entire offensive line and starting quarterback and backup quarterback. So they will be starting Aloha Dukin this week. A guy that nobody's ever heard of outside of last week when he made his first start. And yeah, he was not good against the Titans. The Chiefs clearly were held together by bubblegum and sticks with Patrick Mahomes in, and now that he's out, the Chiefs are just a bad team. And the Broncos, though they lost at home pretty embarrassingly, those to a very good team, I expect the Broncos to easily win this game, especially when they still have their own destiny to control for the number 1 seed. And the spread is hilariously lopsided for a Chiefs game, so I will also be picking the Broncos here. And now we get into the Saturday matchups. This one is a really good game. The Texans versus Chargers. Though I do expect this to be a pretty low-scoring game. As both defenses are really good, the Texans' offense is not good, and the Chargers' offense is missing an offensive line. And with the Texans' defensive line, I expect them to get after Justin Herbert a lot in this game. So I'd be surprised if both teams go over 20 points in this game. But this is a massive matchup for playoff standings because the Texans need to win this game in order to clinch a playoff spot, and the Chargers need to win this game in order to have a chance at the division and potentially the 1 seed, but that scenario does get a little bit complicated since they're the 4th team in the 1 seed sweepstakes. But they certainly have a chance at the division because the Broncos lost last week, and if the Chargers win the next 2 games, they actually win the division. So this is a big game for both teams. But I will be taking the Chargers. I just have a little more faith in Justin Herbert to make the plays at the end of the game to win this game. And this spread, I will be taking the Chargers here as well. And our other Saturday matchup, we have the Ravens versus Packers. This is a less interesting matchup for the night game because though both of these teams technically have playoff chances, the Ravens, yeah, they don't have much of a chance at all because if they win this game, okay, next week might matter. But if they lose this game, they're just done completely. And the Packers, well, they definitely need this win in order to get to the playoffs. The problem is both of these teams are super injured, especially at the quarterback position. The Packers, Jordan Love had a concussion. I don't know if he's going to play yet. Malik Willis injured his non-throwing shoulder. And the Ravens, Lamar Jackson is in question for this game since he had a back contusion. It sounded painful, but this is a critical game for their season. And I have no idea who's going to win just because of the injuries both of these teams have taken. But I'm going to lean more to the Packers. I just trust them a little bit more with their coaching decisions. And the spread, I will also be picking the Packers here. Now we go into the Sunday slate, and our first matchup literally doesn't matter other than draft order. The Cardinals versus the Bengals. Honestly, the Cardinals would probably rather lose this game for a better draft pick. They might be looking for a quarterback, so the higher the better. And the Bengals, just rough season. Joe Burrow missed literally most of the season, and when he did come back, it was too late. They had lost too many games in a row. Another lost season for the Bengals pretty much puts their entire franchise in question. But with Joe Burrow back, he looked excellent last week. I expect the Bengals to win this game. And the spread over a touchdown. I think the Bengals got this. Our next matchup is the Seahawks versus Panthers. This is a very intriguing matchup because the Seahawks control their own destiny for the 1 seed and the division. The Panthers also control their own destiny for the division. They'll be the 4 seed no matter what. But if they win this game and the Buccaneers lose to Miami for some reason, the Panthers actually just win the division, and next week doesn't matter. But I don't really expect them to win this game because the Seahawks, they've had plenty of rest after winning a massive game, and I actually trust the Seahawks to take care of business because, let's be real, the Panthers, great story. They're not really that good of a team overall. I just think the Seahawks have a much better defense and a better offense. And the spread, I'm not sure I like this spread too much for Seattle. I'm kind of favoring the Panthers here. And next up, we have a rather important AFC North matchup, the Steelers versus the Browns. If the Steelers win this game, they win the division, and next week does not matter for them. The Browns, they're honestly looking for a better pick and seeing what they have in Shador. Shador hasn't exactly been all that great over the past few weeks, and the Steelers' offense, for like the first time in forever, actually looks good. Aaron Rodgers has tapped back into his prime a little bit. I mean, he's not prime Aaron Rodgers anymore, but we're starting to see a little more of that explosive offense that the Steelers have sorely missed. DK Metcalf is going to be out this game because he punched a fan for some reason. So it could end up being a less explosive offense. However, the running backs are just doing insane things. Jaylen Warren gashed the Lions last week, and Kenneth Gainwell has been impressive in the pass offense. So I think just the running backs will be enough to win this game. So I'm picking the Steelers to wrap up the division, and I will also be picking the Steelers in the spread. Our next matchup is the Saints vs. Titans, a tank bowl. Though this has a little bit of a different complexion than it might have had a few weeks ago. The Saints, they're on a 3-game winning streak, and Tyler Shook has actually looked pretty decent. And for the Titans, Cam Ward, he's looked solid over the past few weeks, and Tony Pollard has some really good games. More importantly, they beat the Chiefs last week. Would be more impressive if the Chiefs had anything going for them, but their starting 2 quarterbacks were hurt, so I don't really have that much faith in the Titans, but I no longer think they are the worst team in the league anymore. They're still a bottom 3 team in my opinion, though. But the Saints, I actually think are a little bit on the rise. I think they could finish with like 6 to 7 wins this year, and I think this will be one of them. And the spread, I will also be taking the Saints here. Our next matchup has 2 different teams going in completely opposite directions. The Jaguars versus the Colts. The Jaguars are on the rise in a huge way. They suddenly look like Super Bowl contenders. And the Colts, they once looked like Super Bowl contenders, and now they might finish with a losing record. So, Phillip Rivers put up a fight last week, but the 49ers defense isn't exactly the greatest thanks to all the injuries they've had. The Jaguars defense is very good. They are a top 10 unit, best run defense, and last time these 2 teams played, the Jaguars absolutely demolished them. And Jonathan Taylor didn't do anything. I expect much more of the same. I think the Jaguars will shut down Jonathan Taylor again. And with Phillip Rivers not moving in the pocket at all, though the quick game could help them, I think the Jaguars are able to pretty much shut that down since Phillip Rivers has no throw power anymore, and the deep ball is not really that much of a threat in this game. So I think the Jaguars will pick up another win pretty easily. And the spread, probably the largest the Jaguars have been favored all year. I will be picking them here as well. Our next matchup is the Buccaneers versus Dolphins. If the Buccaneers lose this game and the Panthers win somehow, yeah, the Buccaneers season would be over. And that would be very sad since this team looked like a very good team in the first half of the season. And partially due to injuries, they have not looked like the same team. And Todd Bowles is on the hot seat. Meanwhile, the Dolphins, they had a nice little story. They had a 4-game winning streak. That ended when they lost to the Steelers. They're out of the playoffs now and are starting Quinn Ewers, who didn't look good against the Bengals defense. So the Buccaneers are a better defense than the Bengals, but probably not by a whole lot. But I don't expect the Dolphins to look good again this week. They might put up some points, but it won't be enough for a desperate Buccaneers team. I think they will take care of business, and the matchup for Week 18 will matter a lot for them. And the spread, I will also be taking the Buccaneers here. Our next matchup is the Patriots versus the Jets. Yeah, the Jets have looked terrible over the past few weeks. They got crushed by the Saints out of all teams, so yeah, they've pretty much packed it in for next season and are booking vacation spots. Meanwhile, the Patriots, they are in the race for the 1 seed. They just need the Broncos to slip up once and they will take back the 1 seed. It's definitely possible, and the Patriots definitely need to win this game also to hold off the Bills in their own division. I fully expect them to win this game pretty easily. Yeah, they're just overall the way better team than the Jets. And that spread is huge, but I think the Patriots will easily be able to cover. Brady Cook is not a good quarterback. And our next matchup is the Giants versus the Raiders. Now, this is the premier tank bowl because both of these teams only have 2 wins on the season. One of them is going to come out with a win. unless they tie, which would be a hilarious scenario, but I expect one of these teams to pick up a win. The Giants, Jackson Dart didn't look good when he wasn't running the ball, so I think they should make him run the ball a little bit more, but I don't think the Giants are in very good shape. They have a lot of injuries, and I think they're kind of just packing it in. Meanwhile, the Raiders, they showed some fight against the Texans, so I think they are actually trying to win a game, just doing a very poor job at it, but they are trying, and I think the Raiders actually come out with the win here. I just like their roster a little bit better. I thought they were a more talented roster than the Giants to begin with. The fact that they're in the same position shows that Pete Carroll hasn't really worked out this year, and neither has Geno Smith. Also, that kind of happens when you have a terrible offensive line. Meanwhile, the Giants' offensive line is actually kind of decent. And the spread is practically a pick'em because both of these teams suck, but I will be picking the Raiders here. Next up, we have the Eagles versus Bills. This is actually a very exciting matchup because the Eagles, they just won their division. They are starting to actually look kind of good. And the Bills, they also really need this win in order to have a chance in their division and in order to possibly get better seeding in the playoffs. They'd rather play the 4 seed, likely Steelers, than anybody else in the playoff picture right now. So that 5 seed is actually quite valuable if they can't win their division. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup, though the Eagles have much less to play for. They locked up their division already, and they can't really get any better than the 2 seed, and they won't fall to the 4 seed. So it'll be interesting to see how the Eagles approach this. I think they'll be trying to win to maybe get that 2 seed, but who knows. However, I actually think the Eagles will win this game. Saquon Barkley has started to look good again. The Eagles offense has really started to come together. I think it'll show up against a Bills defense that has been iffy all year. Their run defense especially is pretty bad. And the Eagles get Lane Johnson and Jalen Carter back this week. So those are 2 huge additions back to their team. I think they will be a massive impact in this game, and I think the Eagles will pull out an upset here. And this game is practically a pick'em because you could make an argument for either team, but I will be picking the Eagles here. And next up, our Sunday night game is a huge game between the Bears and the 49ers. Who would have thought that at the start of the season? The Bears, they need this win in order to lock up their division, and the 49ers also need this win in order to stay in their division race and potentially win the 1 seed as well. If they win their division, they probably win the 1 seed because whoever wins the NFC West is likely getting in the 1 seed. And the 49ers control their own destiny. The Bears need a little bit of help to win the 1 seed, but winning this game would also be a massive help for their division race, so this game could go either way. Do you trust the hot Bears right now who are just finding ways to win? Or do you trust the 49ers who look great on offense, though their defense is a little bit questionable with all the injuries they've taken? It's a tough matchup that can go either way, but I will be favoring the 49ers here. I just trust their offense a little bit more. Both coaches are excellent coaches, and both quarterbacks are playing well at the end of the season, but I think Christian McCaffrey will continue his impressive 2025 season against the Bears, though the Bears defense is quite good, so again, this game could go either way. And the spread's nearly a pick'em, but I will be taking the 49ers here as well. And our last matchup of 2025, we have the Rams versus Falcons. The Rams coming off a tough loss against the Seahawks, and the Falcons, they won against the Cardinals in very ugly fashion, but they did it. The Falcons, honestly, this is a weird game for the Rams because they have the Falcons pick. Well, actually, just winning benefits them in either way because with the loss, the Falcons draft order will go up slightly, likely. And if the Rams lose this game, this would be double disastrous because not only are they practically eliminated from the division race, their pick would get worse. So yeah, the Rams, they need to win this game a lot. I fully expect them to win this game though. I don't think that Seahawks game is indicative of much of their team. I think they just got mad unlucky there. And the spread, I expect the Rams to win this pretty easily as well. Anyways, what do you guys think of my picks this week? What are your picks for this week? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and sub. It lets me know you guys actually enjoy these videos, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.